you need to have a plan, and you need to have a plan that addresses 4 key areas, which is data. And the key here is start with the questions, not with the data. Talent, which is how do you organize the people and the capabilities. Analytics, which is not just what you create and how you synchronize the models, but also how do you make sure that people on the front line use it. And then tools that we need to put in place so that we're able to actually execute that. So those are the key elements that you need on your plan to be able to harvest the power of big data, because the data again is there, but if you look at the statistics, only a very small number of companies are actually using big data. Gartner says it's only 15% of the 500 Fortune companies that use big data. And what I also wanted to do is I wanted to give a practical example of how that actually happens. And the example we talked here today was for a very big shoe manufacturer and retailer that used data and interconnected the data across their marketing department, across their stores, across their events, and across their fulfillment center to be able to not just understand what is the customer journey, but also be able to identify moments of serve, moments of care, and obviously the moments of information, the moments that the consumer connects with us and we get to understand who they are. So as an example, knowing that someone is a runner creates an experience that the specific company was able to use to offer an automatic shoe replacement every 900 kilometers for a specific group of people who are passionate runners. One of the big problems we have today is that the big data is super hyped. So everybody talks about it. So there is a disconnect between senior management and what they expect to get out of big data and what actually happens on the front line. So how do you actually solve for it? The short term, there is a long-term solution, which is you need to have a plan. And there is a short-term solution, creating proof points. And creating proof points and celebrating them in a big way requires that the analytics people and the business people and the frontline people work together. So you could have a very specific project that has a middle, a beginning, and an end, so you know what it's going to be the outcome. But at the time you're doing the project as an analyst, as middle management, you need to also have a very specific way of how you're going to bring it in front on the front lines. As an example, we had a customer that created a segmentation model, so they were able to basically segment everybody on their customer base. And the project wasn't going anywhere until we actually sat down with them and said, we need to create a tool so that when someone walks into the bank and they sit in front of the tailor actually has that profile in front of them and they know in human words what is the next best thing to do. And the same thing needs to happen on the call center. We need to find a way that when someone calls, we can link back their phone number, or if they authenticate, we can link them back into the record to say, okay, this is someone who belongs into a new parent segment. So what are the products and services as a new parent that we want to offer? That makes it actionable, and then take the results, measure it, and celebrate it in a big way, and use that to propel senior management to start thinking about it from a long-term perspective and putting a plan together.